Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great week out there so far. Here to bring you the latest information that we have on multiple things in this morning's video. The first thing we'll go over is the tropics, but folks, we're not going to spend very long on an update on the tropics just because things have sort of trended away from anything developing. We've been watching Invest 94L for the last several days, this area of interest in the Caribbean, but things have really simmered down in model guidance. But we will go over everything and talk about it a little bit, but there's no point in spending 10, 15 minutes or anything like that on it. We will talk about what's going to happen weather-wise across the entire Lower 48 for your Wednesday also. Overall, a pretty quiet day, but we'll speak on that. And then we'll give you an update on a big-time system on the way for the Rockies and just the western U.S. And when I say big-time, I'm not talking about life-threatening weather, a severe weather outbreak, a blizzard or anything like that. But this is one of our first big-time fall systems of the fall season, fall and winter season. So we're going to speak on that, give you guys a little bit of love out west, and then we'll kind of give you some refreshed information on how chilly the temperatures can get over the next few mornings across the eastern U.S. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I just want to say thanks for people who continue to tune in as things have kind of slowed back down, the views continue to be over 10,000, and that's always a pretty solid thing. It just tells us that we've kept some of the viewers that only tune in during the very active times, and that just tells us that the foundation of this channel continues to grow. So thank you for people who continue to tune in. It's definitely been a challenging week for me. I've had my ups and downs. We had the situation with Saturday morning with YouTube, and one day I'll feel okay about it, the next day I'm a little bummed about it, but I'm human. It comes and goes. But definitely continue to ask for prayers about that situation, as I still have not really gotten an answer from YouTube or anything like that. But if you folks, more importantly, have anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below so I can pray over it and so others can do so too. I got two cats in here with me this morning. I got Rocket behind me, and then I got Stormy chilling on my book bag over here to my left. She loves laying on my stuff. She's definitely, I'm definitely her person, that's for sure. But let's get going. So this is the Atlantic. I'm going to circle a couple areas. Let's see if this is going to work for us. Computer been acting a little weird this morning. This is Invest 94L. Just kind of a very compact tropical wave out here in the Atlantic. Nothing scary, nothing alarming by any means. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And then we have our area of interest, and it's just a bunch of unsettled weather over here in the Western Caribbean. And what we're watching for is if any of this energy can consolidate, come together, and then turn, outright into a tropical cyclone. As of now, I'm not expecting it, but it's certainly possible. But we are certainly watching more so this system as this continues to move westward in this general area over the next several days. So that's what's going on right now in the Atlantic as far as the U.S. And once we start moving past hurricane season, past the tropics, or if there's just, even if we're in hurricane season, there's just flat out nothing to talk about, I will start just kind of zooming into the U.S. instead of the entire Atlantic. But we do have a reinforcing cold shot behind the initial cold front that's draped across this region right here that's bringing even chillier air across the U.S. So definitely some cold air for October standards. Nothing record-breaking by any means, but definitely chilly air, making it all the way down to Florida. So that's what's going on right at this second. If we continue to look at the latest from the National Hurricane Center per the 1 to 2 a.m. update overnight, this has dropped to a 50% chance to develop. And folks, I would not be surprised once we get the 8 a.m. update here in the next hour or so, if this drops from a 50 to a 40, maybe even a 50 to a 30% chance to develop. But Invest 94L, the X is where that tropical wave is I just showed on the satellite. Could develop somewhere in the next 7 days in this orange area. And then we still have this area of interest right here. Has a 20% chance to develop sometime over the next 7 days, but that's dropped from a 30 to a 20. So overall, guys, the tropics is pretty quiet. And if we look at model guidance, I'll take a look at the GFS, which only goes out 1 week right now. And we'll keep this in motion. This is our tropical wave. You can barely tell a difference between this and this up here, but that's actually our tropical wave. This is kind of just an area to watch, a bunch of unsettled weather in the Western Caribbean, and we keep this going. Our wave is right here. I know you can probably barely see it, but that's it. it never develops. So if you kind of rewind back 3 or 4 days ago, it was showing as high end as a hurricane developing like north of the Greater Antilles. Now, nothing. Okay, so we keep going all the way into early to midway next week. The pattern gets kind of weird, definitely a switch up in the directional flow. And it kind of takes whatever energy is here and kind of throws it back into the Atlantic. Maybe it'll have a chance to develop then, but it's heading out to develop. It's heading out into the Atlantic, and it doesn't look to be bothering anybody. We certainly need to watch Bermuda, but even Bermuda, I don't see anything too crazy to worry about. So this is 1 week out. No development from Invest 94L. What about the euro? Anything different? We keep this in motion. There's our wave right here. Here's our just tropical energy. And the wave, we get into Saturday, we get into Sunday, we get into Monday. Nothing's developing. So the good news is models have significantly downtrended on this. And thank the good Lord on it, because I'll be honest. I'll always keep it real. Always do. I'm over talking about the tropics. Of course, I'll never stop talking about the tropics just because I don't want to talk about it. It's kind of like severe weather. I don't particularly enjoy breaking down the days before a severe weather event. It's out of the big three, which is winter weather, the tropics, hurricane season, and then severe weather. I would say winter is my favorite. Tropics is a close second. And severe weather is way, way down the line there. I've learned to enjoy talking about it a little bit more, but it's definitely not something that I get on these videos and get super excited to talk about or anything like that and nerd out with you guys. But anyways, it looks pretty quiet out here. The energy, kind of like what it does on the GFS, gets kind of slung northward. Could bring some moisture to Bermuda. But guys, nothing develops out of this. So I would say if there's anybody saying anything different, just be careful what you believe out there. I feel like a lot of people, and I really can't think of any channels, honestly, off the top of my head. I just focus on my channel. But, this is the time of the year where, we've had a few hurricanes hit the U.S. People milk you guys. They really do. They take advantage of the fear factor with the public. And then when they know, a portion of the country is reeling after getting hit by a hurricane, they know everybody's on a heightened alert with the tropics. So they know that they're going to utilize that. And that's why a lot of times after a hurricane hits, if you look at people's videos talking about tropics afterwards, whether there's anything to talk about or not, the views skyrocket for these channels. And that's probably why I've retained some of my viewers over the last several days, because probably people's been probably watching what's going on here, if anything's going to develop. But, you look at the European ensemble, guys, the EPS from overnight, this makes up 51 members, and it has significantly dropped off. I mean, we got a few scragglers out here, maybe 10, 12 members, but they're all weak. I mean, some of them are like 10 millibar lows, so very weak signal. It's really dropped off. So for now, I would say that things have trended away. It could turn around and trend back the other way, but for now, things are certainly trending the other way. And as far as what's happening across the country right now, our cold front has made it all the way down into the Gulf Coast, all the way down into the northern Gulf of Mexico, actually. And it's actually surged all the way down to south central Texas. It's well off the coastline of the southeast. And in fact, we have a low pressure trying to develop, a chilly light rain trying to fall across eastern sections of North Carolina. Definitely some fall vibes out here for sure. I cannot speak this morning to save my life, but we'll keep rolling. But check out these 30-degree temperatures. Temperatures are in the 30s in the northern sections of Mississippi, northern Alabama. We got 30s in Nashville and Tennessee, maybe even some sub-freezing temperatures a little bit further north. We were starting to see the snow falling in the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee before the sun set yesterday, and I'll be interested to see the landscape as we wake up this morning in the mountains. I'm going to be very jealous because I wish I was up there, but I can't make it all these events. But definitely some chilly rain, maybe even a little bit of some snowflake action mixing in with some of these lake effect energy bands. It's just not that time of the year yet where you get these all-out lake effect snow bands. You can. Ask Buffalo about the snowstorm that hit back in the early 2000s or something like that. The leaves weren't even done changing with that. You know, you folks tuning in from New York know exactly what I'm talking about. I forgot what year it was off the top of my head, but chilly air mass over the middle of the country, definitely fall-like. Here comes our next big system moving in. Rain associated with it, moisture, cold air will filter in behind this, and this next cold front associated with a low with it is going to bring our next big storm system across the western U.S. And we'll talk about that in a segment towards the end of the video. As far as watches, warnings, and advisories, there's a lot of red flag warnings out there now, folks. This bright pink color, this hot pink, that's red flag warnings. We even got it along the Gulf coastline. And I'm telling you, we're going to start to get them a little bit further inland across the southeast here in the next several days and coming weeks if we do not get any rain. I've mentioned that many times over the last few days. As crazy as this sounds, we do need the rain a little bit more consistently, not all at once across areas of the country, but let's get some consistent rounds of rain. And it ain't just the southeast. It's all kinds of places in the country. The plains, the Great Lakes region, the southeast. I mean, we need some rain, some consistent rainstorms that's not going to dump 10 inches of rain at one time. But as far as the western U.S., you see this teal color here. Those are winter storm watches. And I mean, the higher elevations, some of these higher mountain ranges of the Rockies, I think that I'll do better memorizing some of these isolated mountain ranges as we move a little bit deeper into winter. Like I know the Bighorn Mountains here. There's the Laramie Range here in Wyoming. But I always forget this mountain range here in northern Utah. That's, you know, some of the highest peaks of the Rockies, not just Utah. But winter storm watches, winter storm warnings there. We got freeze watches. We got freeze warnings in these purple color. So there's a lot of winter alerts out here. Winter weather advisories in the Cascades of Oregon. Winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories in areas of the Rockies of Montana. So the chances of flash flooding, though, between now and the next 24 hours below 5%, so it doesn't even show up. And then the risk of thunderstorms, there is a general risk across the Rockies in the western U.S. for this system on the way. Could get some convective and element types action out here. A rumble of thunder, a flash of lightning is certainly possible. And then we could get some thunderstorms in the southern sections of Texas and Florida, where you guys are just south of this cold front, and maybe some thunder here in eastern sections of North Carolina. As far as what's happening weather-wise across the southeast today, we're going to probably deal with some rain in eastern sections of North Carolina, and it might just be confined to the Outer Banks, honestly. This low tries to develop with this trough and could throw some heavy rain just for the Outer Banks. So definitely a soggy day out here, not a day to be at the beach whatsoever. And these are sometimes the systems that can create a little bit of beach erosion too, especially when these systems really deepen off the coast of the southeast. But, you know, Florida will not see much action today, you know, compared to the last several days and weeks. The rest of the southeast is pretty calm. We could get some lingering snow flurries, rain showers in the higher elevations of the southern and central Alps. Outside of that, beautiful day expected. The northeast, New England, we're going to continue to get these lake effect rain showers, even snow showers, depending on where you are. Elevation matters. Some of this lake to mountain connection will be ongoing. So there's those kind of snowflake splotches of blue you're seeing, maybe snowshoe mountain resort area. I could get a little bit more snow up here. I've had a lot of people say, Mitch, you love snow so much, you should really go visit this area. And I probably will one of these days. One of these days I'll get up there. But we'll continue to get that. Just some showers in eastern Ohio, western PA into West Virginia, chilly showers. And I think that this feed will begin to stop this evening. And by the time we get into the overnight hours, into tomorrow morning, waking up to calmer weather. I mean, it's pretty calm out there right now, but definitely dealing with the shower and drizzle and snowflake activity. This morning in the south central U.S., we're going to get some thunderstorms that could get going along the southern Texas coastline. These could drift all the way down to the Brownsville area. We're going to start to get some moisture that gets on the increase across New Mexico and Colorado. I have not said that in a while. Some spotty showers, maybe even a thunderstorm, some snow in the higher elevations. But outside of those higher elevations like the plains of Colorado, don't expect a lot. And everybody else across the southern plains continues to be bone dry. This is going to become a problem if we do not start to get some moisture and some big rainstorms in these areas. And this happens, it seems like, every fall in this area. We go through these nasty dry streaks, but this has lasted from late summer to now. So just not getting a whole lot of anything in the south central U.S. And what's going to stink is watch us end up getting a severe weather outbreak to kind of break the dry streak. It seems like that always happens. But the north central U.S., a little bit of lake-to-lake connection from Lake Huron down to Lake Erie for southern Ontario. But, Lake Superior today, Lake Michigan, nothing, quiet, cool autumn weather. Just your typical fall-like day up here for sure. Now, the Rockies in the western U.S., big system moving in. You see the initial cold front with the rain associated with it. This could bring some gusty winds with it. We get into this afternoon. Look at this kind of narrow band, if you will, of rain and moisture moving through western Montana, central Idaho, areas of Oregon, all the way down into northwestern Nevada. This will continue and kind of dwindle apart, if you will. But as we're getting into the overnight hours, cold air begins to filter in, and what's left over of that moisture will greet you guys like in Yellowstone National Park, the Rockies of Montana, the Rockies of Idaho. And we start to see a lot of heavy snow falling out here. Tomorrow morning, the Cascades, you start to get some snow. Obviously not quite cold enough this time of the year to start getting it around the, what is it? I think you call it like the coastal range or the mountain ranges, really close to the coastal areas of the Pacific Northwest. But this is definitely tomorrow is going to be day one of a very wintry last couple of days of the work week for the Rockies for sure. And we're going to get into tomorrow. We'll talk more about this towards the end of the video when we have a segment for it. But yeah, not sure what that is. Must have forgot that I had that panel up. But the Pacific Northwest here, this is how much precipitation can fall between now and the next 24 hours. If we look at snow, I think this more so starts to add up later in this time period, like as we're getting deep into tonight. But here it goes, we'll go on and just kind of move this a little bit further all the way into Friday morning. I mean, the snow begins to pile up, starting to get that snowpack there. Even a little bit of snow in the Olympic Mountains is possible. So if we do take a look at, say, the Rockies as a whole as far as precipitation, and not a whole lot in the Central Rockies or just in the Rockies in general. This is beginning to move in as we're getting into Thursday morning. Okay, so we'll talk more on that here in a second. But as far as temperatures, folks, look at this. You're talking about a fall air mass. Temperatures for highs only in the 60s as far south as central Florida. Just definitely one of those, definitely the strongest cold front of the fall season that we've seen so far. Highs only in the 60s, deep all the way down to the Gulf coastline. Highs only in the 40s and the 50s in the mountains. Some areas higher up only in the 30s. Will be probably trapped into the 50s, probably in areas of North Carolina, Virginia from some cloud cover with this developing low. But definitely some chilly temperatures. You guys are totally different than you were yesterday in areas of Texas. You guys need a break. You're getting a break from the heat. We definitely have a warm pocket of air with kind of the modification of the air ahead of this next cold front. So it's actually getting into the 70s and 80s across the high plains, some of the warmest areas of the country actually. Cold front moving in, it's cooling down the Pacific Northwest, not too bad in the Southwest. So there is another system moving in as kind of this trough leaves us. We'll continue to have some cool mornings, but there's a big system that's going to dive in. You see this blue area? That has a lower pressure, basically what we call an upper trough. We have embedded energy in this trough, and this will just basically bring a whole lot of unsettled weather and some cold air across the western U.S. This will eventually increasingly get cut off and kind of lose its cold air source, but will still bring unsettled weather. And I do want to watch this little cutoff low. This look right here is what brings severe weather sometimes across the plains. So we're watching that. Not a whole lot to mention with that. If we kind of look at and actually I haven't done this quite some time. So, but let's look at 850 millibars here, see if we can see anything here. If we kind of back this up, you do see a bit of an 850 jet, low-level jet, riding over areas of the middle of the country with a weak low Monday morning. Watch for some severe weather in this area. Let's look at the dew point chart, and we'll talk more about this when we need to. A little slither of moist air, but not much. I mean, that's a dew point's in the 50s, so not much of a moist return with that. But we'll talk more on that when we need to as far as the severe weather aspect of this. we are into secondary severe weather season, so we get it. But as far as what this system's going to bring for the West, we start to get into Tuesday afternoon. Look at all this green and blue you see out here. Higher elevation snow, lower elevation rain. Just a whole lot of unsettled weather. We take it all the way into Friday morning. It's snowing heavily across the higher elevations of Utah, Wyoming, Montana, eastern Idaho. And then this starts to move into the Rockies of like Colorado. And definitely could get some snow as far south as the higher elevations of Arizona and New Mexico. And so we're certainly watching this, and this just kind of sticks with us for a while because it gets kind of cut off. So, we do watch early next week. This could bring some much needed rain across the plains, so we'll watch that. As far as precipitation, between now and Friday evening, good bit of it. And a lot of this could fall in the snow as snow, guys. Like we look at the snowfall forecast with this, look how much snow is expected in the higher elevations of Utah here. And in fact, we'll just get a little bit closer. Let's look at Utah here. Look how much snow could fall in this area right here, the mountains, the higher elevations of Utah, and up here in the higher elevations of Wyoming also. So definitely a good bit of snow for a lot of these areas in the higher up terrain. So as far as an update on these cooler temperatures, the frost and freeze we could get, you're wondering you need to protect your plants. Well, a lot of areas need to protect them right now because it's, really close to freezing. A lot of areas are sub-freezing as far south as like Kentucky, maybe even areas of Tennessee. But if you're really concerned about the sub-freezing temperatures or even the frost, tomorrow morning will be your morning. We're going to get deep into the 20s into the mountains of North Carolina. We're going to get below freezing most likely for Kentucky and areas of Tennessee, deep into the 30s as far south as Mississippi, Alabama, North Georgia. Heck, you're even going for the upper 30s at my house here in Lexington, Columbia, South Carolina. Just deep. And then, look down here in Florida, folks. Temperatures are going to make it. Look, the 30s are all the way in Texas. 40, 39 degrees or so in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Chilly conditions for sure. Chilly all the way into Houston. I don't want to ignore you guys either in the South Central U.S. In fact, we'll look at this now. And but the air does begin to modify in the South Central U.S. We're getting to Friday morning. And, you start to lose those chilly mornings. But they do hang around. It's very fall-like for sure. But looking at the low temperatures for the southeast, going back to this area, if we go to Friday morning, air begins to moderate a little bit, but still a very chilly morning Friday morning. And you just hang on to some more tolerable low-time temperatures. You get in the 30s, that just gets downright cold. 40s is way too cold for some people. But even Saturday morning, just a beautiful mid to late October morning temperatures, in the 40s to 30s across areas of the South. And even Sunday morning, it sticks with us. Monday morning, and then Tuesday morning, you do start to warm up a little bit. But temperatures in the 40s and 50s is nice in October for low time temperatures for sure. Now, we do look at, say, let's go up to the Northeast as far as these temperatures. Don't want to leave you guys hanging. And we look at tomorrow morning. Deep in the 20s, guys. Some areas might sneak into the teens depending on your elevation, but a chilly winter-like morning up here for sure. You guys transition to winter a lot faster than everybody else. But you had the snow earlier in the week. You get into Friday morning, still cold temperatures, not as cold, and then Saturday morning, this is what you're looking at here. Sunday morning, moderate. So. Yep. And then I'll throw you guys a bone also. Don't want to leave you guys hanging in the north central U.S. I'm all over the place, right here, and I would say that your coolest morning is probably right now. That's probably this morning. Temperatures dramatically moderate as we start to get into Thursday morning and then Friday morning. You're really starting to warm up as you have a bit of a return flow. So. That's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. Appreciate the prayers and praying for you folks too. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm very happy things have kind of slowed back down some. It's like a breath of fresh air, that's for sure. So another reminder, and I'm going to go live probably Thursday, tomorrow. I will not have a video Friday morning and Saturday morning. It might be Sunday morning too. Me and my wife are getting away for the weekend, and we haven't done that in about 4 or 5 years. Really looking forward to it. I've never been much on needing a vacation to get away from my a regular day-to-day life, because my day-to-day life is awesome. It's wonderful. It's beautiful, and I'm very blessed. But sometimes you do just need to, take a trip with your significant other and get away. And we're taking a larger trip with the entire family, the kids and everything, come late November. So, I've always been somebody that only needs to get away maybe once a year. But I'm always big on taking my vacations in fall and winter over the summer. But anyways, just a heads up on that. But I'll give you a reminder on that here in the next day or two. So God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning.